Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know what this is and what time it is. If you haven't been following the channel for a while, you probably can figure it out anyway because you're not a moron. This is a chicken processing trailer that we rent. We've got chicken processing to do. I got 91 candidates here in this trailer, and we got 2 days to get 91 birds processed and parted out. Some will leave as whole, and this is part of our personal consumption as well as our business resale consumption. So come along, we're going to dance the YouTube dance to see what we can show and what we can't without getting X'd out. So we want to feature this in a little more detail than we have in the past to show how it works and how it functions really well to make small farm business practical at a much smaller scale because of access to a rental piece of equipment like this. So come along. So this trailer is made available by our state farmers market association, and it's just been it's been very handy to have. In fact, they've invested in 3 trailers now. I think they just added a 3rd one because West Virginia, while it's not a huge state, takes a lot of time to get from point A to point B. So they place these strategically around the state so it's closer for local farms to use and not have to drive 4 hours to get to it. This unit here costs us, I believe, for the 2 days, I think total, it's about $70. So it's not a huge outlay of cash for us. We do have to provide propane for the scalder, but other than that, everything is here. And I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Actually, I'm going to get the scalder filling up with water so we can get it hot, so we're not all standing around here when my help comes. So we'll get that going, get the fire going, then I'm going to detail what we have on this trailer. Well, in the past, I've always forgotten the fact that this scalder needs electricity, not only to turn the rotisserie, but to fire up. The safety mechanisms won't allow you to turn on gas unless you've got electricity. I remember that this time. And usually I'm like, what's wrong with this thing? So we're just going to plug it in. Yep. And then we're going to get some propane. She don't like propane. Reverse started? Yes it is, boys and girls. Little spit to check for leaks. All good. Gotta get the air out of the line. There we go. Down flame is too clean. Gotta wait for the thermocoupler to heat up, and then we'll be good to go. Believe it or not, there is fire there. Loose. Okay, so the scalder's full. That's one downside to having a well. You've got that 55-degree water coming out that you got to get up to 150 degrees. Now we'll fill up the chill tank. After we close the valve on it, of course. This is where the chickens come to chill. Okay, so while that continues to fill and that continues to heat up, let's talk about what we have here. So the process, simple process, U-shaped. 6 killing cones. Has a nice little, this is all stainless steel equipment, has a nice catch tray there. We can catch blood and anything going on there, no problem. From there, once they're cacathed, then we move over to the scalder. And this thing's neat. It's got a timer, it's got a temperature setting. Timer, let's see, it's set at just a cat's whisker under 2 minutes, about 1.5 minutes. That's what I like. So you just flip it on and it rotates. I'm going to put some soap in here too. Soap helps get the chicken kind of cleaner, and then of course also helps water be wetter. If you understand what that means, then it just lets the water permeate the feathers more, cuts through the oil on their bodies, and gives it a better opportunity to have better feather release. So we usually let that run. I'm not going to obviously wait for that to do all it's going to do to show you. And then we have our plucker, which is a standard rubber finger plucker, shower head here that water comes out of. We'll hook a hose up to it here, and what I usually use is a Y splitter, so I've got permanent connection here all day, and then the Y comes off and we have a hose for our viscerating table. That way we can spray and rinse and do those type of things. So visceration, a little drop hole here so you can drop your eviscerate. So we'll put buckets underneath and fill that up. And then of course our chill tank, where we'll put ice in this. We put some vinegar, so it helps cut any bacteria or anything like that. And that's where they'll chill out. And then what we do is, I haven't moved the vehicles yet, then we just transition to the garage and we'll do final processing. My mom, God bless her, she does final inspections, so she looks to make sure we didn't miss any pin feathers or anything. And they go into coolers, and then we do our final process, whether it's bagging them up as whole chickens or going to the next station to be broken down as parts. But we'll detail all that as we get into it. And here are our contestants. 91 Cornish Cross, and this was a straight run that we got about 8.5 weeks ago. And they're male and female. We like that variety because some people like a smaller bird. Sometimes the roosters get too big. You can see like this guy right here. He's pretty grande. This has always been a balance for us when it comes to the size of a finished bird. When we're cutting down, breaking down into parts, then you like a bigger bird. We've had as large as 10-pound chickens that we've raised out in 8 weeks, which is just insane. So I've backed the ration down a little bit this time because we're selling more whole birds this processing run. So we're going to try to do about 40 whole birds. And it's tough to sell a 10-pound chicken at $4.25 a pound. That's that's almost $50 you got tied up in a chicken. You can eat on it for a while, but it's tough for some people to wrap their brains around. So we like a smaller bird. Normally we're that 5-6 pound and under, we do whole chicken. Anything larger than that, then we parse out for individual cuts. So we'll see as we go along who goes where. So we're going to do 40 whole, and we're looking at doing maybe 41 or 51 parsed out because we have 91 birds out of the 100 we started with. Okay, so with Mom and Dad helping, and the 2 boys here, and then Kelly and I, we get a little bit of a process here. What I like to do is we dispatch 6 birds at a time, and using the killing cones, of course, a good sharp knife. But we've never had luck with these birds not laying very calm in the killing cones. You know, they get the death throes, so that's why Dad has this board here. We bring that up from the mill and kind of use that as a hold down to keep the birds from flopping out and going across the ground and all that. Reduces bruising, obviously reduces stress in the bird. They've always said the killing cones provide more docile or more soothing way to dispatch a chicken. I've never interviewed a chicken after I've dispatched it, so I don't know if that's the case. Now I'll put the real tiny one back. We're going to save him till last. fact, I may put him in the mobile coop and let him live out a couple more weeks. Is he the one with a limp? Does he have a limp? Yeah. There's another real tiny one in there too that will...
You need one more?
Yeah, one more. Find his head. There's his head. So once we got all of them bleeding out, or 6 in the station, I wash up and then get on the eviscerate side. So we kind of have this imaginary line. So Dad's hands stay contaminated dealing with dirty chickens, but once we get over into the plucker, then we want clean hands, clean chickens. So I'll wash up and get to the station, and Dad will put them in the dunker. So the way this Poultryman scalder works, of course, keeps the thermostat temperature. We're hovering about 154. We just test it with a probe. Do about a 2 minutes, a little less than 2 minute rotation in here, 2 birds at a time. And of course, the soapy water helps, like I said, helps cut into the oil, get more contact with the feathers. And then as soon as that's done, if it's done right, then the chicken should stop above the water surface. Sometimes it doesn't happen and Dad has to toggle it, but that's the way it's supposed to work. These stainless steel units are in really good shape. They've been used a lot. There's just a little bit of leakage around the gasket, and I noticed this, the cover is missing. They're not using the cover this year. Remember, we had to have the ratchet strap around it when we transported it last time. So they've just, I guess, decided we're either not going to use it or somebody rented it and it blew off going down the road. So either way, no cover. Plucka. There we go. So one. Ooh, I can tell that water's hot. Let's yeah, with the gloves do it. A little shower head action here. Oh shoot. Cal, can you run around and turn our water spigot on? Nice, a little water action there. Sometimes they get jammed up. Come on, chicken. Disco chicken. It usually takes me about half a day to remember to keep my mouth closed when I'm standing here. Don't end up with a snoot full. So it gets about 99% of the gets about 99% of the feathers off. Gracious. Yep. So we're actually wrapping up. Kelly's on the last 4 chickens, and I took a break obviously to shoot some video real quick because I want to show. Now the evisceration process, if you want to learn how to eviscerate a chicken, you don't necessarily need to watch us because we're not going to give it in detail. In fact, the way we learned the best was by visiting Polyface Farm, watching their videos. If you just Google Daniel Salatin, he goes step by step on how to do it. I think they can eviscerate a bird. Well, they do, Kelly, in like a minute. They do something like that. They can do it in a couple of quick moves. Break down. It's crazy. So, but really the key in this situation, and it depends on whether you're going to part the bird out or whether you're going to leave it whole. But of course, remove the feet, remove the head, then we remove the oil gland on the tail. We make a small slit at the neck of the bird here, and that allows you to detach the crop, the esophagus, and the windpipe and the trachea. And so then when you make a little slit in the back and reach in and grab all the goodies, you can pull the crop and the trachea and the esophagus all through. So you pull all that out, cut a U-shape around the vent, leaving as much fat as possible, toss that in a can, and then have the lung, reach in there and remove the lungs. Yow. What was I going to say? Yeah, and we don't have a market for chicken livers. We don't eat them, and none of our customers are interested in them. So we discard those. But the eviscerate bucket will be a tasty treat for the pigs, and then the feet buckets, we'll process those, or we'll bag those up for broth purposes. So Kelly, you happy that we're on the last 2 chickens?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
now the fun starts with parting them out.
Parting them out. So how many have we vacuumed? Yeah, I've got a little stuff on my face. A little bit of blood, a little bit of other things. Front end, back end, everything's stuck to my face right now. What? How many did we get vacuum or shrink wrapped?
So far?
Yeah, the one full size bird or whole birds. Goodness.
We're at 20 something.
Yeah. So what we're doing here, and we'll show that here in a second. I'm just getting the heat back up. We're putting the whole birds in a shrink bag, shrinking them, zip tying them, putting a label on them, going in the freezer. And so that's an easy process. These coolers over here have the birds in it that we're going to break down and part out. So we're going to put them on ice all night, and then tomorrow we'll start our breakdown process. Kelly felt it was necessary. I can't even see that I should show my face. Yeah, so you can see a little bit of stuff stuck to my face there. That's what happens when you work in the dispatching and in the eviscerating process. You get a little bit of both. You get both ends. Get in there. Yeah. Okay, so it's the next day. Mom and Dad actually just left next afternoon, and we have 49 birds, or we started this morning with 49 birds that we were breaking down into individual parts, individual cuts. So we're doing breasts, we're doing tenders, we're doing wings, we're doing boneless, skinless thighs, and then drums. So what Kelly's doing, she's the master at breaking down the carcass. She's nodding her head no, but she does a great job breaking them down, and they stay in ice over here in our coolers. Break them down into the individual parts, and then my job is separating the quarters into thighs and drums, and then of course removing the skin and the bone from the thigh. Cam's over here doing the vacuum sealing. So he's vacuum sealing. I think we're doing 2 breasts a bag and then 6 of everything else. Chickens came in a little smaller this time. We wanted to scale them back in size and weight simply because just customer demand. We've had more people say, hey, we'd like to have a little bit smaller birds. So he is vacuum sealing, and then we come up here and put them on the scale, put our red tool house labels on them, and keeps an inventory of it, so when it goes in the freezer, I can easily update the website without having to go into the freezer and count everything. So count it as we go. So he's got a big bundle of that to do. So we're on the tail end side. We cleaned up the trailer already. So the processing trailer's cleaned up. Mom and Dad took it with them, so they're returning it. It's a 2-day rental. So putting that back. 2 of our coolers are already cleaned out. You can see the leftover carcasses and things we aren't using. I'm putting those in the tractor bucket, and those will be treats for the pigs. They love that. And we're on the downhill side of this. You know, I wish I could have a camera on me at all times. You guys would see more drama that unfolds, but it never unfolds on camera. So last night, right before dark, I decided, hey, this gutter, we had a real thrashing of rain. This gutter up here, the downspout's clogged. I fixed the back one. The back one was clogged, but I took my little cheap aluminum ladder back there, unclogged the back one, but then came around front here, and this is much higher. This part of the house is higher than the back part. So I got up to the 4th step, and I thought, well, I think I can go one more. And I just shifted my weight, didn't even get my foot on the step, and that thing went sideways, and I landed right there. And I know how Wile E. Coyote feels when the earth gets out from underneath him. I didn't even have a chance to hold up a sign that says mother, though. But I landed right there, and that hurt. That hurt real bad. So I'm laying here in the concrete in the pouring rain and all the water and just yelling. I thought the boys' bedrooms are right here, and I thought the boys would hear me, and they didn't. Kelly heard me, and she was in the kitchen. She came running out, and she thought I'd killed myself. So needless to say, I'm a little gimpy today. Everything's sore. I unfortunately didn't hit my head. The only thing I got as far as a physical, something you can see, is a blood grain on my elbow and a bruise. It's a decent sized bruise. But everything else is just sore. It's like whiplash. And I feel like I'm about 2 inches shorter than I should be. But that's part of it. So, show must go on. Stupid things you do. So needless to say, this ladder is going to recycling, and I will never own an aluminum ladder again, because those things are junk. All right, well, I thought I would at least include some numbers. Obviously, we're not going to have a full profit and loss of this run until we sell our product, of course. And there's that issue of some of this is going to be for personal consumption. Some of it, of course, is going to be sold. But I thought I'd go over what we had. So we had 91 birds alive that we brought up for processing. 2 were stunted. They were little runs, so they weren't even worth processing. So they went that way. So we ended up bagging 40 whole birds. Left those completely intact, bagged those up. Had an average weight of 4.8 pounds bagged, with a high end of 5.9 and the low end of 3.9. A little bit lower than what we had last time. I was purposely trying to get them a little lighter because they're just so heavy last time. But I feel like I'm on the downhill, or a little bit lower than what I'd like to be. I'd like my average to be more around that 5.5, maybe even 6. But anyway, it is what it is. And then we, because they're a little bit lighter, we bag things up differently. So we do all the breakdown because, again, a lot of people don't know what to do with a whole bird or don't want to mess with it. So we packaged up all of our breasts, just 2 per pack. That way it's easy to manage. 46 bags of those. If you're doing the math, yes, we had some spoilage. Had some spoilage with everything, basically. When you have a chicken on pasture, and once you pluck it, you can really look and see, okay, did it get beat up? Did it have some discoloration in the breast? Did it have a torn spot? Did it have any type of anomaly there that just isn't good presentation? But then also in the process of being put in the killing cone, going into the scalder and going in the plucker, sometimes you get some issues there. Like as they spin around in the plucker, if they get tweaked a certain way, they can blow a wing out, so they'll have a bone pop out of their wing. And that, I don't want to package those wings up if the bone's sticking out. It just doesn't look good. So we had 15 bags of tenders, 15 bags of drumsticks, 16 bags of thighs, that was boneless, skinless thighs, and 14 bags of wings. So everything tenders, drums, thighs, and wings were all packaged 6 per. So that turned out pretty good. That'll be quite a bit of inventory to put on the website. And then if we decide to do another fall process, then we can, we know it's an 8-week window, so we can put our order in and be ready to process early October. That would be the latest I'd want to go, because we'll have frost in mid-October. So other than cuts, I got plenty of cuts on my hand and scrapes, and I don't know if you guys can see that. That's the bruise. It's getting bigger and bigger from falling off the ladder. And my Tylenol's wearing off, so I'm aching pretty good. So I thought I'd come out here on the porch, enjoy pipe, get in the shower, and probably go to bed. And I know this isn't a pipe channel, but I know some of you all are interested. You've expressed interest, but I want to show you this pipe that I got. It's a handmade pipe from the Ukraine, and it is made out of pear wood, which most pipes, high-end pipes, are made out of briar wood. So pear wood's not going to last as long. But this is beautiful. It's got the maple leaf hand carved in it, custom stem, just really nice. And I thought it was kind of cool to solicit some business from the Ukraine with what they're going through. It's actually the 3rd or 4th thing I've ordered from the Ukraine, artisan type stuff. And it smokes really well. And believe it or not, shipping and everything, $48, which is crazy. So Pretty neat. Well, as you can tell, I'm tired and I'm rambling. I pray everyone have a great week. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all take care.